Hey everyone, welcome back. Now, in my last video, I mentioned with the update doing some more supercars, so figured might as well get a start to that. So for today, we're gonna figured take a look at the AMT Jaguar XJ220. Now, have it in the bag as the box itself that comes in was a 3-pack superset. So fair, just be better off just packaging each kit individually from it. Now there's also the Diablo and a Viper that came with the set, but those will be focused on a little bit later on this month, if I get around to it. So, I'll just get everything out of the bag here. So, got the instructions here, which is your pretty basic map style fold out instructions, giving you all a fairly detailed diagram and instructions on putting the kit together. Then got a couple loose parts here, like I got the tire set of both front and rears, and they are directional, so you're gonna have, or are they? No, I don't. No, they don't look like to be directional tires, so they can go on however. But of course, there no writing on them, just plain tires. And then there's the tail light lenses in the clear red. Then what's interesting, it's got the window pieces, but they're in a smoke black, which is interesting to have colored tinted windows, which you don't see that very often, but it is quite a nice touch. Then we got the likes of some of the chrome parts. I got the front and rear Jaguar rims, along with what I'm guessing is valve covers, intake, mirror pieces, and the brake discs. It's all look all pretty decently. And of course got the decals here, which is pretty much just got the basic Jaguar, which has the XJ220 badging plus choice between license plates. So very minimal on that. And then getting into the parts here, just get the bag open right away here. So here's the body, which molded in a light gray. Now it looks really, it's fairly nicely molded. Not really, a little bit of imperfection on the air vent, but that can get cleaned out. Yeah, so overall, it just looks like a fairly nice, clean model. Couple other parts, to mention here. Got the interior tub with the sidewalls for the engine bay, and then got the radiator here. Then the rear cooling panel, or the vent panel that's molded open, which is really nice to see. Then you got the engine halves with transaxles. Looks fairly nicely detailed. And of course, with these, they had a turbo V6 engine instead, which I believe it was supposed to have a V12 instead. So yeah, so there's that. And of course, the rear suspension cross-member frames. So not too much on that, but quite a few parts. And then a loose part here that came off was looks to be like the center console for the interior. Yeah, yeah, it is the center console. So yeah, that. Then we got the chassis of. Then we have the chassis here with that being for what the car is. When not surprising to see it have a smooth, flat underside. Then got the inner fenders for the rear of the car, plus the spoiler. Then moving on here, we got some interior parts, like we got the dashboard here with the very cushiony seats, which look fairly nicely molded. Decent amount, not too much detail, but still quite a decent looking set of seats. Then you got the door panels, both left and right. Of course, the driver's side one here looks like would have extra controls for everything versus the passenger side. Then got a bit of flashing right here around the steering wheel, but of course that can just get trimmed off. Then got one of the mirrors right here, steering column, and what I'm guessing right here, one of the door handles. And then got the trunk of the car, or the front, the front trunk of the car. So there's that. So far, everything's looking really good on the kit, but when it comes time to build, we'll see how everything goes. Then got here some more suspension pieces, like cross members, then support brackets, then upper and lower two-piece rear exhausts. Well, that's pretty cool. And then, of course, got the wheel pins right here for the front, and then the wheel axles right here for the rear. And then what I'm guessing here would be sway bars, then shock absorbers. Then part of the last of the parts here got some more suspension parts, and also like the intake system, exhaust manifolds, wheel backs, supports, the steering system, and then a bunch of serpentine belts for everything. And then there are some loose pieces here that are in the baggie. So got by the looks, what I'm thinking is these might be the part of the fuel injection system for the intake. Haven't looked too thoroughly through it, so not entirely sure as of yet, but I'm thinking that's what it is. And then we do have the other mirror, which actually, one thing to note with this car, it is very asymmetrical in the sense that one of the mirrors is mounted on the door and the other one's actually mounted on the fender, which at first you may not realize that, but when you actually look at the car in real life, that's how it is. Just how I'm guessing by how the visibility is in the car, that's how it was designed around. So that's everything that's in the kit. Gonna get around putting some stuff together, and then eventually get some things painted up here and there. So be right back with this. So now here it's been about 45 minutes worth of work that's been put on. So got a couple things put together now. First here we got the interior, which I'm looking at doing a a bit of a dual color scheme. So I have the interior being black, and then things like the seats and the dash will be a stone gray. So just have a bit of an accent color for the car. And then went ahead, got all 4 tires put together with the wheel backs. Some of them do require you to put on the brake discs, whereas the other ones have the other ones have a square opening for the rear spindles. So there's that, and then pretty much put them together as with the wheel backs. You're not really going to see it, so not too concerned about getting those painted up. I did have it though when putting one of the tires on. I forgot to check the size, so there's a little bit of a scuff mark right here. So, been unfortunate for that to happen, but oh well. And, well, actually, what it was I was trying to put this on one of the thinner tires. But of course, when you try putting on something that's much too big for something much too small, it doesn't exactly go well. So, there's that. Then got the chassis here all put together, or as much as I can. Like got the front suspension the front suspension put together. Then got the back half here. Now I have the intakes glued in for where the engine's going to mount. And then here have one of the inner fenders off, as so I can still get the rear cross member set up, and I can put it in easily and take it out with no problem. As otherwise, trying to paint it with everything together, and then plus if I had the other fender on, that'd be really difficult to get everything put back together. So just leave that off. So yeah, get this all painted up, and then got the engine here all as much put together as it can before it needs to get, or at least before the chrome accessories. So yeah, so everything on here is looking really good. I feel like this is gonna be, after everything's painted, it'll just go together quite easily. And then a couple small other parts here that'll just get a coat of paint on those. Paint them up in black, something quick. And of course, with the car, the one mirror was just sitting there. So of course, I'll get the one mirror glued back on. And then paint the car up, primer it, and then painted a certain color, which I was thinking like a British racing green. But the more I think of it, I may go for more of a stock silver look, as that's what the car color would have been. So, and then of course, detail the interior. Yeah, so, overall, it's coming along quite nicely. Yeah, so I believe that'll be it. That's it for currently. Oh yeah, and I do also have the center console. They'll just go over top here. So that's pretty much all there is currently for the assembly. Now, going through get a couple things up for paint, and we'll see what goes on afterwards. Okay, so I got a few things. This is now day 2 of getting things put together on the car. So, first of all, I'd like to point out that I did get pretty much the body painted, with the exception of the rear wing, which I'm going to be doing up here soon. But here's just the overall car, which I wanted to do it like like a dark silver or metallic gray. So end up getting this really nice, essentially a gunmetal gray finish, which I was able to do this with the combination of a black base coat, pretty much used Rust-Oleum black, or semi-gloss black, to paint it, and then masked off the front fin, or the front air vents here, as well as the back. So, had those part on the car, painted everything black, masked off the front vents, took off the rear ventilation panel. So then I ended up using a champagne gold metallic. Pardon me there, slight distraction. So, yeah, I got the car painted up, and then went ahead to test fit the roof panels, which are probably going to be painted up separate, or paint up the paneling. Did get the rear cross member installed, plus the back window. Now, do have the tabs here that were supposed to be for the back window, but ended up breaking those and figured it just fits on. The window just sits there nicely, so I can just display it with the window panel off to see the engine. And then went ahead and installed the passenger side window, which still need to do that for the driver's side. So there's that, and then plus doing some decal work, do the very subtle decal work. I'm thinking of just using the black XJ220 badges. Not sure what license plate I'm going to use though. So I'm going to keep those to the side for now. Then then moving on to the chassis. Got some of it already put together. Like I got the interior, like I got the interior pen here ready to be painted, but do have a color that I want to use for the interior at least, which is going to be this medium stone gray, which I think looks pretty good and fairly accurate to what the real car's like. And then somewhere about in the mess, I've got the dash pad somewhere, but I got that painted up, but not too significant at the moment. But I do also have where I got the front wheels put in, just so I didn't get confused with the back wheels. And then also got just have stuff test fitted in. So got the chassis reinforcement. Then got the actual engine, which I have one of the steering or the wheel hubs put in. So then let's see if I can get this out. So pretty much get it in and out. Now the one thing for this kit that I found was that for the steering, or for the axle shafts, which I was wondering how these go in, but I found how it goes is that there's a nub with a bit of a divot. That end actually goes through one of the wheel hubs. It'll just slide through, and then over top the hubs, that's where you install the wheel. It'll just probably will have to sand down the end to get rid of the excess paint. So if anything, just cleaning this up and then getting that installed onto the car. And then with this, actually, I only have the passenger side wheel well installed, as when I was putting stuff together, I realized that if I put both wheel fenders in, I wouldn't be able to get the engine in, as well as the frame supports, because otherwise it'd be a tight fit and potential risk of breaking something. So I'm going to be painting this up separately from everything. So it's pretty much that so far. Now, yeah, so everything's coming along quite nicely. Now, originally the kit, there's a lot of parts to it, but not a lot of parts, surprisingly enough, to it. And it's a simple kit, but from what I find, it's a fairly well-engineered kit. So anywho, I'll clean up some of the stuff here, maybe elaborate on some more details here and there as stuff goes on. So, yeah, so we'll see after this, see where we get. So now here, after a little bit more of time, got the car now all put together, which went together quite nicely. And overall, a really fun kit to build. Didn't really really wasn't any struggle with it. So the only thing that I do have is that the slight bit on the passenger side here, the tire isn't quite aligned properly, which I'll probably get that dealt with later on. But for now, it's fine. Personally, it's fine for now. Yeah. And then everything went together quite nicely. And yeah, so I did have it where painted the inner fender on the driver's side here. Got everything put together, which looks, yeah, here's the engine bay, and then yeah, everything went together quite nicely. The only thing is that have to be aware is that you want to make sure everything's glued down nice and firmly, as this is one of those cars where you have to pull the body around the base in order to keep the car together. So that was a bit of work in itself, but luckily it's not like you're gonna break anything major. So yeah, so there's that. We'll probably end up having afterwards here. I'll probably clean up the glass pieces from the some smudge marks. That'll just be easy to clean off. So yeah, overall not bad. And of course, this is first of 3 that gonna be of exotic supercars that I'm gonna be working on. Thinking about, not sure if I'm gonna work on the Lambo or the Viper yet. So we'll have to see what happens with those. But for now, got with the Jaguar now done. Means now got time now to work on something else, which is good now, and then this can be put on the shelf for display. So yeah. So there was a look at the AMT Jaguar XJ220. A fairly simple kit with not a lot to it. Yeah, so yeah. Now, supposedly this kit here's only had 2 releases, technically only 1, where there was the superset, which mine came out from, and then there's the regular singles release. So, yeah, fairly nice kit. Glad that I was able to work on it. Yeah, so if anything, yeah, that'll be it for this video, and as mentioned, going to be working on some other kits here soon. So, yeah. So, yep. See you next time.